For generations, affluent families have bypassed traditional banks by building their own private liquidity pools inside specialized life insurance contracts. It does not require aggressive tax shelters or exotic financial instruments, and it is completely legal in most countries around the world. Yet it is almost never discussed in mainstream personal finance content. Because the people who benefit most from it have very little incentive to broadcast it, and the financial industry that profits from selling it has a strong incentive to keep it complicated and opaque. The strategy involves life insurance, not the simple term life insurance that most financial educators recommend, but a specific type of permanent life insurance that functions simultaneously as a death benefit, a tax-sheltered savings vehicle, and in the hands of sophisticated users, a mechanism for accessing wealth without triggering a taxable event. Today, we're going to explain exactly how this works, who uses it, and whether it is something that should be part of your financial thinking. To understand the strategy, you first need to understand the difference between the two fundamental categories of life insurance. Term life insurance is what most financial educators recommend for most people most of the time, and for good reason. You pay a premium for a defined period of time. If you die during that period, your beneficiaries receive a death benefit. If you do not die, the policy expires and the premiums you paid are simply gone. It is pure insurance, straightforward, affordable, and fit for purpose for protecting dependents against the financial consequences of premature death. Permanent life insurance is fundamentally different. It does not expire. As long as premiums are paid, the policy remains in force for the insured person's entire life. But the more important difference is that permanent life insurance builds what is called cash value, a savings component inside the policy that grows over time and can be accessed by the policyholder during their lifetime. This cash value component is where the tax strategy begins. In most countries, the cash value inside a permanent life insurance policy grows on a tax-deferred basis, meaning the growth is not taxed in the year it occurs. This is similar in principle to the tax deferral available inside a pension or retirement account. But life insurance has a structural feature that pension accounts do not: the ability to access the cash value through policy loans without triggering a taxable event. When you borrow against the cash value of a life insurance policy, you are not withdrawing the money, you are borrowing against it as collateral. In most tax systems, a loan is not income. Loans are not taxed. This means a policyholder can access the money inside their life insurance policy without paying income tax on it, regardless of how much that cash value has grown. Here's where it gets genuinely interesting for wealthy individuals. Consider someone who has accumulated significant cash value inside a permanent life insurance policy over many decades. The cash value has grown substantially, compounding tax-deferred inside the policy for 30 or 40 years. In a conventional investment account, that growth would have triggered annual tax on dividends and interest, and would trigger capital gains tax upon withdrawal. Inside the life insurance policy, the growth has accumulated without annual taxation. And when the policyholder wants to access the money, perhaps to fund retirement living expenses, to invest in a business opportunity, to purchase real estate, they do not withdraw the cash value. They take a policy loan against it. The loan is not a taxable event. They use the borrowed funds, and when they die, the death benefit paid to their beneficiaries is used to repay the outstanding loan. And in most jurisdictions, death benefit proceeds are received by beneficiaries income tax-free. The cycle completes. Cash value grew tax-deferred, was accessed tax-free through loans, and the final settlement happened outside the taxable estate through the death benefit. This is the strategy in its essential form. It is sometimes called infinite banking, sometimes called becoming your own bank, and sometimes simply referred to using life insurance as a tax-advantaged savings vehicle. The terminology varies, but the underlying mechanics are consistent. Wealthy families, particularly those in the United States, Canada, and other jurisdictions with favorable permanent insurance treatment, have used this approach for generations to compound wealth inside a tax-protected structure and access it without triggering the income tax or capital gains tax that would apply to equivalent growth in a conventional investment account. The type of permanent life insurance most commonly used for this strategy is whole life or indexed universal life. Whole life insurance provides guaranteed cash value growth at a fixed rate. Predictable, conservative, and suitable for those who prioritize certainty over growth potential. Indexed Universal Life, commonly called IUL, ties the cash value growth to the performance of a stock market index such as the S&P 500, typically with a floor that prevents negative returns and a cap that limits the maximum gain. The IUL structure gives the policyholder participation in market upside without the downside risk of direct market exposure, making it particularly attractive as a long-term wealth accumulation vehicle. The death benefit component adds a further dimension for estate planning purposes. In most jurisdictions, a life insurance death benefit passes to named beneficiaries outside the probate process and outside the taxable estate. For high net worth families facing potential estate or inheritance taxes, the life insurance death benefit represents an efficient mechanism for passing wealth to the next generation, without the tax erosion that would apply to equivalent assets passing through a conventional estate. Wealthy families routinely use irrevocable life insurance trusts, known as ILITs, to remove the death benefit from their taxable estate entirely. The trust owns the policy. The individual pays premiums into the trust. When the insured person dies, the trust receives the death benefit outside the estate and distributes it to beneficiaries in accordance with the trust's terms, free of estate tax and outside the probate process entirely. None of this is secret or illegal. It is publicly documented in the tax codes of the countries where it is practiced. The reason most ordinary people are unaware of it is not that it is hidden. It is that the strategies require significant premiums to implement meaningfully. The products are complex and require skilled advisors to structure correctly, and the benefits compound most powerfully over very long time horizons, which favors those who start young and wealthy. A $10,000 annual premium into a well-structured whole life policy over 40 years will produce a meaningfully tax-advantaged result. But the wealthy client paying $100,000 or $500,000 in annual premiums over the same period produces a result that is genuinely transformative. A multi-million-dollar tax-sheltered cash value accessible through loans during their lifetime, and a substantial death benefit transferring wealth to the next generation without passing through the taxable estate. It is also worth understanding that this strategy is not a replacement for conventional investment. The internal costs of permanent life insurance, the mortality charges, the administrative fees, the insurance company's profit margin, reduce the effective return compared to investing equivalent premiums directly in a low-cost index fund. For most people in most situations, term life insurance combined with disciplined investing in tax-advantaged accounts and low-cost index funds will produce better financial outcomes than permanent life insurance. This is why mainstream financial educators consistently recommend term insurance over permanent insurance for ordinary individuals. And that recommendation is generally correct for people building wealth from a modest starting point. The strategy becomes genuinely compelling for specific groups. High-income earners who have maxed out all available tax-advantaged retirement accounts and are looking for additional tax-sheltered growth. Business owners who want a tax-efficient vehicle for excess business cash. Individuals with significant estates who face estate or inheritance tax and need an efficient mechanism for transferring wealth. People with long time horizons, ideally starting in their 30s or 40s, who can allow the cash value to compound over decades before accessing it. And in some cases, parents who start policies on children, with the child as the insured, giving the cash value multiple additional decades of tax-deferred compounding before the child reaches the age of peak wealth accumulation. There is a version of this strategy that has been appropriated by overzealous salespeople and repackaged as a miracle solution for ordinary earners, promising that everyone can benefit from infinite banking and become their own bank, regardless of income or tax situation. This version of the pitch is almost always wrong. The high internal costs of permanent life insurance products mean they need to be held for a very long time and funded at a significant level to overcome the cost drag and produce returns competitive with simpler alternatives. The person earning a modest income, who diverts money from emergency savings or basic retirement contributions into a whole life policy is almost certainly making a suboptimal financial decision, regardless of what the policy illustration shows. The honest financial picture is this: life insurance as a tax strategy is genuinely effective for people with significant taxable income, existing wealth, and a long time horizon. It is a tool in the toolkit of sophisticated wealth management, not a replacement for the fundamentals of earning, saving, investing, and managing debt. Understanding how it works does not mean rushing to implement it. It means having the financial literacy to evaluate it honestly when a financial advisor proposes it, to ask the right questions about internal costs and surrender charges and the break-even point, and to make a genuinely informed decision about whether it belongs in your particular situation. The wealthy do not pay zero taxes because they found a loophole. They pay zero taxes on specific categories of wealth because they understand the tax code well enough to build their financial structures inside the provisions the tax code explicitly permits. Life insurance is one of those provisions, built into the law deliberately to encourage families to protect against mortality risk and to accumulate long-term savings. The wealthy simply use it more aggressively, more strategically, and with more professional guidance than most people know is possible. Financial literacy is not just knowing how to budget and save. It is knowing the full landscape of legal structures, tax provisions, and financial instruments available to you, and making deliberate decisions about which ones serve your actual situation. The strategy we described today may or may not be right for where you are financially right now, but understanding that it exists, how it works, and who it benefits is the kind of knowledge that compounds over a lifetime, just like the cash value inside the policy itself. Click here to watch the index fund nobody talks about that outperforms the S&P 500, because building genuine wealth requires understanding not just how to save, but how to invest what you save in the structures that work hardest for you over the longest period of time.